let's talk a little bit about performance sports nutrition. As a dietitian, I'm limited in what I can prescribe based on hospital protocols and based on, evidence-based practices, which is good. That's a good thing. You never want to prescribe what you think works, or like, I'm going to go ahead and fire some shots here. If you're a dietitian and you do an MLM and it isn't scientifically evaluated, as in, peer-reviewed evidence, that's definitely an ethical gray area. What's the word I'm looking for? Sleazy. I think that's what that is. So when I've worked with athletes in the past, and it was really cool. I got to work with a Division I football team in my internship. Got to work with an individual that was trying to get into the Olympics to represent their country. And I'm getting to work with a professional wrestler. A lot of people that I work with, they have performance in mind when they want to partake of my services, which is cool. I absolutely love getting to study the performance and the optimizing aspect of things. But I'm going to lay some stuff down that people might really not want to hear. When you look at content providers out there, people like Jeff Nippard, Jeff Cavalier at AthleanX, Alan Thrall, Brian Alshrew, all those people are fantastic. They're great sources of information. They're great content providers, and they're at the peak. You're at the peak. That's the thing that I want to emphasize. If you looked at the human population on a curve, like a normal distribution, they're like 3-4 standard deviations away from the center of the population. And so when somebody looks at their videos and they think, this stuff is what I've been missing, this stuff is what's going to accelerate me to the next level, there may be some truth in that, but more than likely, there are a lot of foundational issues. You see, the closer you are to the middle, the less optimization is going to help you. I know that sounds maybe counterintuitive, but you got to think about the investment, the amount of energy that you invest, and the rate of return on that investment. Return on investment, that's what I'm talking about here. If you invest your money and your time into getting some protein supplement or some other supplement that's supposed to boost testosterone or supposed to enhance recovery through some sort of dextrose compound, which is just like a different form of glucose, and it has all this science behind it, like it increases surface area to enhance maximum glycolytic potential through absorption, blah, 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 amino acid residues, you got your branch chains, you got your L-leucine, you got your isoleucine, you got your valine, all this stuff. Is it really helping you? So as a nutrition scientist, I can say metabolically, probably not. There is this propensity for individuals to be very biased to observe the effects that they want to see. So an example of this would be somebody getting a supplement that is supposed to boost, strength, like a pre-workout supplement, right? Or something that just contains a tremendous amount of stimulants that may or may not be amphetamines, and mostly caffeine, depending on the legal status at the time. And then they do a better set on their squat or their bench press or something like that. Well, guess what? Sometimes I have good days, some days I have bad days. Some days I might squat 400 pounds. And then next week, I might be having trouble completing my maintenance set of 5x5, 315. Really, like that happens. There is variation. There's a lot of variation in just normal functionality. When you attribute your otherwise good days that may be built into your physiology to some substance, I think that's where they get you. And then you think, oh, this substance was catalytic in my ability to achieve more. When really, if you dissected the effects of this scientifically, and what I mean by scientifically is you do your very best to control for all of the variables that you can control for. I would be willing to bet my time and my investment that it's not doing anything for you. And what I mean by that is I don't waste my money on that stuff. Because food that you eat has pretty much everything that you need. And not only does it have everything that you need, it's packaged in a way that you are evolved to absorb it in that format, as long as you're eating whole foods. Is it optimal absorption? Let's look at an example of this. Optimal absorption would be thing like pure sugar, right? So it dumps sugar into your bloodstream. That's optimal absorption. Is that good for you? It spikes your insulin, it spikes your blood glucose, then you have to try to remove that bolus from your bloodstream, and it's a stress on your pancreas, a lot of different things. That's maximum absorption. But is that what you need? What if you eat a potato, right? Let's say you eat the same amount of grams of potato as you eat of dextrose or glucose or a disaccharide. We're not going to say sucrose. We're talking about glucose and glucose. Because if you look at what's in a potato, that's alpha 1,4 glycosidic linkages, right? So it's just glucose units chained together. And it takes your body a little bit to break that down, a little bit of time, a little bit of energy. That's better for you because it's not maximum absorption. It's the right amount. For the first 300,000 years of human evolution, we ate all kinds of tubers. There's anthropological evidence of this. Things that have those carbohydrate chains in there, starches is what we call them. And those provide more consistent glucose entering into your bloodstream over a longer period of time, rather than just that maximum absorption, maximum performance dump that may not be the best for you. Same way with essential amino acids and branched chain amino acids. Like there's been so much research come out in the last few years about branched chain amino acids and the BCAAs and how you need leucine, L-leucine to catalyze, to activate mTOR protein synthesis. Does it? I mean, yes, they've demonstrated that in a scientific setting. However, that's in a laboratory setting where a lot of everything is controlled. You are not a laboratory setting. Your body is so complex and there are so many variables that play into your ability to utilize that L-leucine to generate that protein synthesis, to try to shift that needle from catabolism to anabolism, which is what you're trying to do. Consuming extra leucine in lieu of or in addition to just the normal foods that you should eat. Like how much leucine is there in an egg and 5 eggs? There's all kinds of other stuff in eggs. An egg can grow an entire chicken. There's everything that you need in an egg. Does it have cholesterol? Yes, science has shown that it doesn't really matter from what you eat. It matters how much your body produces, and that's more related to fat, your fat consumption. And so that's what you should look at rather than trying to control your dietary cholesterol. But that's evidence-based, and that's somewhat controversial because if you look at the hospital protocols, every single heart diet is low-fat, low cholesterol. I don't know. I don't work in a hospital because of stuff like that. So if you look at what you're doing, it may be more beneficial to you to not spend that money on an L-leucine rich 5+ grams per serving branched chain amino acid, essential amino acid mix. It may be more beneficial to eat things that are complementary to the stuff that you actually need. Spending that money on these fancy supplements to try to push that needle out on the back end of optimization when you're still somewhere near the middle is, I would think, not the best use of your time and your money. It might be more beneficial to you to purchase a well-balanced diet. We're talking about lean meats, and we're not talking about boiled chicken breast and white rice and broccoli. I hate that. I hate that stereotype. I'm not saying that stuff's bad. I'm saying if that's what you eat, that is pitiful. You have the diversity that we have of dietary stuff in this day and age. You can go to the supermarket and you can make something that's wonderfully healthy and wonderfully diverse from the produce section. You don't have to eat boiled chicken breast in an Instapot and white rice. That's not exactly the most healthy. But what you can do is spend your time getting yourself closer to a point where you really would benefit from that. Most people that I have ever interacted with are not at the level where they would really benefit from that investment. Take the athletes, for example, the football team, collegiate football team. These people are trying to break into the NFL. They have some lofty goals. If you look at the schedule of one of these elite athletes, they get up at 5 in the morning. They do 2 to 3 hours of intense practice that usually is strength and conditioning in the morning. So they're putting themselves through a very physically taxing workout. Then they go to classes. Those are mentally taxing. And it all comes from the central nervous system. So then midday, they have another practice, usually an hour, 2 hours, or some sort of stretch session, another conditioning session. Then they do afternoon classes. Then in the evening, they have another practice or an event or something like that. It's insane. And then, after that, after their evening practice, which can go all the way to 8, then they have to do their homework. Then after that, they get hopefully a few hours of sleep. The thing with the Olympic athlete that we got to work with, working with them, it was about recovery. So you can think about it like this. If you imagine a room full of like Lego buildings and Lego structures, right? Like a little city in a bedroom made of just completely of Legos. The only things that you can do to that city is go in there and smash things. That would be like exercise, tearing it down. And then you can dump Legos on the ground. That'll be your nutrition. Those are the only two things that you can actually do. Where the magic happens is when you're asleep at night and the little elves, they come back and they try to build it stronger so you have a harder time smashing it in the future. If you are missing that element, if you are not getting 8 continuous hours of sleep per night to ensure that you have that keystone piece of your recovery, then I would say you're probably wasting your money completely on any nutritional supplement or any other thing on the front end that is supposed to be enhancing your performance. And any effects that you do gain from that, I would be willing to bet my own time and money that they're psychosomatic, because I have found them in my own personal training regimens to be not only ineffective at producing the desired results, but just very resource intensive. You know, it takes time to earn money. Money is valuable. And so when you spend a lot, disproportionately, if you look at the number of calories that you get in a protein supplement, right? It's not actually that much for the dollar value. If you look at the amount of calories that you can get in a meal that you make, it's a lot more. And it's a lot better for you when you get protein, whey protein isolate with some chemicals in there that are supposed to boost your testosterone. They come from all these different plants, and it's insane. And I'll make a whole video on trying to do testosterone endogenously optimizing that later, because that is the keystone. But that's a different video for a different day. The biggest thing that you can focus on is sleep. I know that sounds weird because I'm a nutrition guy. You know, I'm in nutrition science. I'm a dietitian. I'm a nutrition professional. But sleep, for performance, sleep is the most important thing. Then comes nutrition for recovery. Then comes the stimuli that you provide. If you have the background process, so this is your sleep, this is your nutrition, this is your stress management, this is the way that you decompress in healthy ways. This isn't binge drinking or any other thing. This is managing all of the supplements and the xenobiotics. It's just a huge class of things that you put into your body to try to achieve a different state. That could be getting drunk, that could be enhancing performance, that could be trying to alleviate a headache with ibuprofen, stress on your kidneys. Trying to take aspirin, that's, stress on your liver. There's like all kinds of stuff. If you can manage those background processes and you put in a 60% workout, your 60% workout is going to be dramatically more effective in moving you towards where you want to be than your 100%. When these back-end processes, these maintenance things, when they're not taken care of. And this is not popular. It's not popular to sit there and say, no, you can't spend money on this pre-workout supplement or this protein supplement and get the big muscles, or you can't just run faster and get your run time down. Like, the only thing that you can do, like when you're running, you're just tearing your body down. That's it. You have to give it time to rebuild stronger, and you have to supply it with the tools that it needs to do that. That would be the building blocks, that's your nutrition. That would be the things that move the nutrition around. Energy, substrate production, that's your B vitamins. The way that you anaplerotically redistribute your nutrient stores, like your alanine in your muscles. If you can't do that effectively, if those processes are compromised in some way, then spending your money on the front end is a complete waste. The people who do benefit from that are people that are in a coma. They're on a tube feed. We calculate exactly what they need, we give it to them, and they don't die. That's who benefits from them. Pregnant women may benefit from supplementation because they use more protein than a bodybuilder any day. Elite athletes may benefit from supplementation. And when I say elite, I'm probably not talking about you. I'm certainly not talking about myself. It's like, if you don't make a living with your athleticism in some way, you're probably not an elite athlete. People don't like to really come to terms with that, but it's just true. In any case, I'll be putting out more videos on what real optimizing performance at intermediate levels looks like versus trying to use the tools that will accelerate somebody else at a much different point. Those would be things like the expensive supplements for elite athletes. Normal people using those is just a waste of money, and it's brilliant marketing. It's brilliant marketing done by these supplement companies that have been very successful. It's billions of dollars worth of industry each year to convince normal people. When I say normal people, I'm talking people that are 3 or 4 standard deviations, right? Normal people, that they stand to benefit athletically in a performance way from their supplements. I have not seen scientific evidence of this. When I say scientific, I mean controlled variables. And even then, it's extremely, extremely difficult to control for the variables like that in the human population, in real-world settings. It's almost impossible due to a myriad of things. You'd have to make alternate reality timelines and look at those to really do it. That'd be the only real way. Now, there are some clever people that have designed experiments that have eliminated most variables, and looking at those can be very useful. But it's better to spend your time and effort in places that gets you the most return on your investment, rather than spending it in places that does not yield what you expect it to based on the amount of money and time and other things that you invest into it. And I'm going to go over how to do that from a nutrition perspective, mostly nutrition, because that's my area of expertise. I'll go over it in the future in some of my workout routines. And the thing about that is, you know what? 3x5s, 5x5s, those are great. That's such a good tool because I'm not an elite athlete. That strength progression has gotten me pretty far. You know? Does it need to be 100% optimized for my physiology? No, I'm like an average dude in my garage lifting for health. I'm not trying to make a living with my athletic performance and physique. So I'll be making videos in the future about how to try to optimize testosterone within your life. I've studied that a lot in my own time because it's so important. I'm not a professional there. I'm not an endocrinologist. I don't have years of experience in clinical environment helping people with testosterone optimization and disorders. But I have access to the same literature that they do, and you have access to it too. Your tax dollars pay for it, the NCBI, and a lot of information can be gleaned from that. I'll probably make videos on mostly nutrition. Anyway, thank you for tuning in. I hope that you enjoyed the video, and you can look forward to some of the stuff that I was talking about, kind of expanded and in greater detail in the future. Have a great day. Forgive the fan. I'm in my garage gym. It being a garage means we have an HVAC unit right over there, and it is on.